Hey guys, Dr. Prometheus here, back with another episode of our Madden franchise, and it is none other than preseason year 3. We're rolling deep in this. We have a big change at quarterback. Drew Brees last offseason, after the Super Bowl win, chooses to retire, and we made a big trade for Austin Ekeler for this run game. Josh Allen's now back to being the QB, but first, we will see the Cowboys. Our first matchup is Ed Oliver just sacking Prescott. This is going to be jumping around a little bit, some of the key plays and some of the key drives that we've had. Allen here going deep to Zay Jones and knocked out of his hands. Zay Jones going to have to prove what he can do to get this contract extension as he is working in the last one, but here taking a big hit. It looks like an elbow injury. It's a dislocated elbow, and he will be out a significant amount of time. Prescott here going deep, and that's going to be knocked down. Got our reserves in here. We're going to see the first action of Case Keenum. He was the backup, but here Singletary had a good season last year in some key places when Montgomery went out, and now he goes down with a big injury. The biggest thing though, Knox, one of our tight ends, going to be getting some big playing time this season, and see what he can do as Croft is looking also for a contract extension. But TJ Yeldon, big strong run, showing what he can do, and we have two good backs in Ekeler and Yeldon. That's a 49-yard touchdown. So some good stuff from this offense so far. On defense, and that's not even being blocked, as Smoot getting some extra playing time. We'll see him probably move over to defensive tackle. But we have some good defensive play, even from the backups. Keenum going back in the second quarter here, holds tight in the pocket, and John Ross gets the good reception, the good speed on him. We'll see him a little bit more going into the year. But Yeldon, pass catching the outside, turning on the speed, and Yeldon is showing how versatile he can be. We might see, again, kind of something we did last year, but Ekeler will get the most catches and touches out of him, as Knox getting that one. As Keenum, it's going to be given out to Kareth White, who's going to be getting some significant playing time with the injury of Singletary. We'll see Dan Snyder come in here, and he was a intriguing guy that we went ahead and drafted. Good speed on him, way to move around the pocket. This is thrown, and well, John Ross just could not take the ball down. Empty backfield set, looking. Schneider's going to take this one. Blitz is picked up, going over, and that's going to be a good catch by Foster as he falls to the ground. Schneider has a pretty quick release. Kind of reminds me of a sidearm release of, say, Favre or really Rodgers, which is kind of nice out here. Good throw there over to McLeod as he buys some time moving out of the pocket. On 3rd and 8, Schneider drops back. Clean pocket going over the middle, caught by McKenzie inside the 10 to the 6. So Snyder out of the shotgun again. White in the backfield, drops back, looking, has time, pressure up the middle, finally gets there, and that's thrown in. John Ross just off the fingertips, tight coverage. I don't think he could get really any tighter than that. Snyder going the outside, Kareth White breaking a tackle and getting into the end zone. White showing some of his strength out there, and that is a big play for him, as he's going to have some extended time with the injury to Singletary. So Snyder rolling out, and we see his inaccuracies in full display there. Biggest thing though, this offense is still running pretty well, and our defense is playing great as Steven Denmark comes down with a big interception, and he's really been playing all over the field for us. Safety, nickel, dime, he's played some outside corner. He has really come on to be a great coverage, and there he is again, knocking the ball loose out of the receiver's hands. Burr looking out here, and Levi Wallace with the interception. Wallace has really fallen down after getting Eli Apple to be in the slot, but Wallace is a pretty good Pretty good player, as Singletary's out for 8 weeks and Zay Jones for 5. So we will not see them at least until the second or third game of the season. Zay Jones will definitely be out till week 2. And so we go into game 2 of the preseason up against the Jaguars. Nick Foles, seeing what he can do out here. Played a lot last year. Real life he was injured, but pretty good stability for the Jaguars. Just a very tough division. As Foles, pump fake, looking downfield, nowhere to go with the football, and he's going to be sacked by Tre'Davious White blitzing off the side. Allen, later on in the first quarter, is going to have it from the 17 of the Jaguars, dropping back. Blitz is picked up, shuffling over to his left, and going to throw it into some space. And Shields is going to be the undisputed number 1 right now until at least Zay Jones gets back. So we need some good play from him. Good catch there and just getting open. Tiptoe catch on the line to stay in bounds for the touchdown. So we have some good stuff between Shields and Allen, and this defense continues to reign as the biggest part of this team that's really going to have to step forward and make some good plays. That's with Everett, who we thought about making a chance with in free agency, but he goes to the Jaguars. That's a big hit by Hyde on Fournette. Foles from 3rd and goal from his 12, or from the Bills 12, going, and wheel routes are still going to be an issue for this team, and White gets beat by a wheel route. So 1st and 10 from our own 39. Going to hand it off to Eckler. Going to have some space. Driving his feet and spins out of the crowd. And Austin Eckler takes this one to the house. And this is why we went and traded for him. And this is why we wanted him last season to really get him in free agency. But he picked the Bucs, but we're able to trade for him. And Eckler, with that speed and power, is just a great combination. Foles going out wide in front of White on that curl route. 2nd and 10. Blitz. And it gets home. It's going to be Shaq Lawson looking to have a better season than last year. He had 11 sacks. As Case Keenum here staying in the pocket and getting it out to Knox. Knox's speed really is a mismatch in coverage. It's something we might have to use a lot more than Croft. Schneider checks in here, coming in the last part of the game. As he puts one out. Great pass to Knox, and Knox takes it in the end zone. He is injured, but it's nothing serious. He will be back next game. But Dawson Knox with those 2 touchdowns. Snyder, even at a 61 overall, I believe he is, playing good football in the preseason. Case Keenum, though, playing some solid football, and I really feel more comfortable with Keenum as the backup at this point. So, going to the 3rd game, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. We were 0-2 at this point, and so are they. As this one is deep, and that's going to be Kendall Fuller. And that was intended for Metcalf, and Fuller went up for the ball and just snags it away. Looked a little bit underthrown, but that's a play that Metcalf can make. So Allen looking over the defense. Eckler in the backfield hands it off. Going up the middle. Going on the sideline. His speed of Austin Eckler is there. It makes a man miss. And Austin Eckler turns on the Jets and takes it into the end zone. And that is the speed we've wanted at running back. So Russell Wilson here. Looking. Going to take the snap. And looking. And Phillips is there with the sack. Phillips really the only mainstay on this line that's saying besides Ed Oliver, but he is going to have to show something. And we do a double reverse, and Shields just drops the football. Looking for a little reverse there and just cannot get it done. So Allen here, still 7-0 game. As he goes over the middle, that's going to be picked off. And that is a good display of defense. That is the defense we expect from Eric Berry in Seattle. So Wilson out of the shotgun finds DJ Metcalf as he dives in the end zone. Tie ball game. But the biggest thing here is seeing what this offense and defense can do. We're in the third quarter. Russell Wilson's still in. This is the one that most starters will go deep into the game. And Kendall Fuller comes up with another interception covering DJ Metcalf, and that is a big one there. Fuller already showing what he can do in preseason as Allen looking, has some space, goes over, and Bourne with the catch in traffic. We still don't know who's going to be our number 2 receiver, but Bourne will likely line up on the outside as Snyder showing his wheels as he goes away from Shaquille Griffin. I believe that is Shaquem Griffin. I can't remember which one it is, but one of the brothers, and Snyder has some good fast feet as he finds White going straight up the seam. Mismatch with a linebacker, and that is a touchdown. Later on in the fourth quarter, still 2 minutes left to play. Snyder looking around, has time, goes over the middle. That's going to be picked off by Ben Kerr. Wow. And he is going to take this to the house. A lot of weaving. And like I said, that is none other than Ben Kervin. But we do end up winning that game in Seattle. Ben Kervin's a good linebacker, and he was a guy that I might have thought about bringing in if we have some injuries and not a lot of depth at middle linebacker. But last year when we started getting linebacker injuries, it was later on in the year, so trading for someone was just impractical. So we went with who we had with Joseph, and we also went with some hybrid schemes, having a box safety, a third safety on the field, as our fourth game will be up against the Saints. So Allen starting off the ball first, pressure in his face, gets it to John Ross. He's going to be looking at a lot of slot duties, but we have a lot of questions what to do with the injury to Zay Jones. As Allen here missing Croft, he's wide open, just pressure. Pretty much getting to him there. Play action, looking downfield. And pressure again is there, and that's just an accurate pass as well. So after giving and allowing, wow, that's a big one from Deonta Foreman coming over from the Falcons. But like I was saying, they let Drew Brees leave and went with Jacoby Brissett. Then, after letting Alvin Kamara leave, they do a hybrid of Latavius Murray and Deonta Foreman. So that is a big move away, but that will save them some money if they want to make some moves down the stretch, as that one is caught by Croft. Allen, handoff to Eckler. Eckler with his speed had one block in front of him, just could not turn on the Jets to get away from the corner. Still a 3-0 matchup, and this one was pretty much all about the defenses, even going into the backups, as Latavius Murray nowhere to go. We're with our backups right now, and that is Barrett, JT Barrett, the QB, Latavius Murray getting that carry, and a good stop there by the rookie Cooper. Snyder dropping back, looking, throws it over the middle. That's where I think that sidearm throw that kind of resembles Aaron Rodgers really comes into play. Pressure in his face, quick windup, quick throw, and it will suit him well as we go deep. And no flag thrown here. Wims had a touchdown, and maybe they thought it was uncatchable, but with that one, it was not great. Snyder here going across body and inaccurate. He saw a man deep and just could not push it downfield into the end zone. Snyder, though, with his mobility, we can do something with if we have some injuries to Allen. But remember, we picked up the fifth-year option of Josh Allen. He has 2 years, and maybe we move on. Maybe we don't want to see how this goes. But Snyder dropping back, looking, pressure in his face, rolling away from it. Finds a man in the middle and just cannot accurately get it to him. Snyder out of the shotgun, drops back, has time, it finally breaks down as this one is just too far away from anyone on offense. Barrett dropping back. Blitz is there, and Barrett loses the football. That's Hoskins checking in, an outside linebacker, making a big play on the outside. Still 6-3. It's still a battle of the defenses as Barrett takes this one out. And this game, I could not actually get a reserve to come in for Hoskins. So at this point, he's just going to come in the game whenever he wants. As Schneider going over the middle. That's going to be caught by McLeod. We had some big plays by McLeod and McKenzie going in the offseason, including a 3-touchdown game, I believe, by McKenzie. That was a big one in the playoffs. As Snyder finds his man on the outside on the comeback. Moving around in the pocket. Looking, has time, throws on the run to Wims. And that is a good display of creating some distance and some time in the pocket and delivering it. Still only field goals game, 15-3. As Barrett's going to try to run this one, and Cooper and company will have the sack. He's going to share that one, I believe, with Smoot. As we go to a 4th and 5 later on in Bills territory. On the outside, that's going to be knocked away and picked off by Dominic Tyson, the rookie safety. Tyson has a big year maybe coming into the league. He's going to be playing behind Hyde, but when we need a box safety, Hyde's going to drop down, and, well, we're going to have a hybrid safety play in some of our packages, and we might see Tyson deep. So, with the end of preseason, I've had a lot of people ask me about how do I evaluate cuts on a roster that I feel comfortable with already, or a roster that I've drafted some guys that I really want to keep, but no one really left. We let maybe 5 players walk. We brought in 5 players pretty much from free agency and drafted another 7. So how do you really decide who to go with, who to cut, things like that? I'll kind of go into a longer extended version, kind of going into my thought process. This game was pretty good overall, though, for Dan Schneider. Typically, we carry 3 quarterbacks on the roster, 2 on the active roster and 1 in the practice squad. But at this point, we might end up taking 4, 3 on the active roster and 1 on the practice squad. And that 1 on the practice squad will be Isaac Hollenbach, who we drafted last year. So there's our 3 quarterbacks. We're going to be solid there. At running back, we have 5 displayed here, but really we have 6 with the injury of Singletary. Eckler and Yeldon and White are big parts of our running game. We're going to put Caleb Thompson at least on the practice squad to start. Going through receivers, I like to have about 10 going into preseason, but at this point I have a lot of receivers that I want to keep. So we're going to put a couple on the practice squad. I like to go into the season with about 6. In many cases, with tight end, it's around the same thing, but I like to keep 3, but 1 will serve as a hybrid that plays a lot of fullback. And that guy that has played fullback has been Tommy Sweeney, but with the addition of Adam Shaheen, who I like more than Sweeney, not as great in blocking, but in coverage I do like him more, and we put out our fullback hybrids out in coverage a lot more than I like to. So we will probably end up cutting Sweeney and going with those 3. As for the line, I think I have our backups pretty much situated, but the thing is, with Quentin Spain being 30, we need a backup that could probably switch around in case we actually don't target a guard or lineman in this upcoming draft. It's something I like to do in the first 2 years, is really solidify the line. Ford really can solidify the tackle positions, and then we also have Teller that can move around in center or in the guards. As for the defense, we brought in Calais Campbell. We're going to do something I've never really done before, but Mike Love's not going to be a part of it. And I believe with Cooper, Campbell, putting Smoot over on the right side where Ed Oliver is really just our left and right ends solidified from there. For our defensive tackles, since we do a little hybrid 3-4, but we do some 4-3 things. On our 4-3, we typically use our ends on the inside, and so there's no real reason to have this many defensive tackles. So I typically go with 2, maybe 3 max, because what your pass rushers are really going to be is your left outside linebackers for most of your packages. And you want at least 2 on the outside, and if you're running a 3-4, you want to have 4 middle inside linebackers. It's something I've found out. We have 6 displaying here. Clement was an undrafted guy, but with hidden development, some good speed, some good tackle. I think he is going to be the one that really is, besides the starters, must be on this roster. He'll get some snaps in special teams and actually become a better player if he has star or higher depth. For corners, since we have this weird thing that I normally don't have with Stephen Denmark, able to play safety or corner, cutting down corner to 5 is something I'll probably end up doing, and I do. Typically, I want to keep 6 corners out there because remember, you typically have 3 out there in your sub packages, and any injury, you want to have at least a full team if needed. But at our safety positions, 2 in each one is normally good for me. Or if you have that hybrid corner that is at a corner position, then you would probably keep 1 more corner. Stephen Denmark is that for us, so we'll go with 2 free safeties and 3 strong safeties. Going through though, trying to do the final cuts is really the issue, and I always find myself at corner and receiver. Receiver is not one that we can do a lot of hybrids with running backs. Madden doesn't really allow it, which I don't know why, but in many packages I would like to have a guy that is in the backfield that I can put out wide and put a different back in there and kind of do a Tariq Cohen type deal where I can just put a guy in a slot. But that is in fact not something you can do in the issues Madden, maybe in the future. But with that, really you have to worry about going with the corners you like. If you have any hybrid things that you have to go with, go for it. Otherwise, receivers you typically want to have maybe 5, which I believe on this roster I end up going with 5. So that kind of rounds about what my thinking when I'm cutting players is really, do I have someone that can play any of the center? And in this, we ended up drafting Brody Holloway. And Morse is getting up there in age. So really, I tailor it to saying we're going to keep 3 extra linemen. Linemen don't really get hurt unless you're simming. If you're doing a simming franchise, your entire idea of reserves and so on and so forth is going to be completely different with this if you're doing a sim style franchise. But if you're playing out the games, it's very rare that a lineman actually gets hurt. It's unfortunate. It makes you not really have to worry about lineman depth, so that's 5 positions that you don't really have to worry about. And you just feel the best that you can, and reserves really are there so Madden allows you to play the game and without restrictions or anything like that. But the last 3 or 4 are always the most difficult to do. And we do have a couple practice squad guys that were signed. Jerome Landry, who was at left guard, and John Green, who was a corner. So, now you know everything of how I really think about cutting players. For week 1, we go up against Andrew Luck, and this is going to be a big game for us. We played Luck 2 years ago in the first year of the series. I think we played the AFC South, and it was not a. Actually, we played him because it was because of his ranking in division. So it was the division ranking that had us play him, and we got demolished by luck. But we also got to worry about Darius Leonard, who is going to be patrolling that middle of that field, and he is a big, explosive, great pass coverage, great in-run stopping. We have our work cut out for us, and we have a big game coming up. But really from there, it goes into Jaguars and Browns. So we do have an opportunity to bring in Zay Jones. He's scheduled to return week 2, at the latest week 3. At this point, we're going to start Kendrick Bourne out wide, I believe. We'll see how that goes going forward. But here are the guys that we have to re-sign. Clement and the like are guys we brought in, free agents. We have Calais Campbell, Hyde, Croft, Quentin Spain, who's 30. Terrion Johnson, who I do like, however, 25 and really is down the depth chart. Phillips, Jerry Hughes, who will likely retire after the season. Wyatt Teller, who's being our reserve guard. Eli Harold, McKenzie. We have 3 receivers that might end up leaving, and Kareth White. So I will see you guys week 1 against the Colts. Thank you all for joining me. Go ahead and leave a comment, like, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I will see you guys next time. Later.